So we're going to finish the essay today, and I noticed yesterday that a lot of you actually got finished yesterday, and that's great, but I'm going to go ahead and go over how to do a conclusion, and I want you to kind of look at what you wrote yesterday if you got that far and make sure that you have done it correctly. Okay. I put the review of narrative leads on here just because of yesterday, first period, me not seeing them. So we're going to go ahead and just as a reminder, in case you weren't here yesterday, all of your essays should start with a hook. I gave you 6 different ways that you could do that, and this hook is to grab my attention. And the first one was dialogue. Okay, so you could start with dialogue. The second one is a sound effect. I've only seen one person do that one. It seems to be kind of difficult with the prompt that you have, but it is doable. The third one is an action. I have not seen anyone do this one, just simply because I think of the prompt. Snapshot, I've seen a lot of snapshots. That's where you start your essay with an image, and a lot of people are creating either the image of the garden or the image of the house where the mom lived, and those are perfectly acceptable. And then flashback is out of order, and that would have been the next one. And then flashback I've seen a lot of, and it is to kind of go back in time. Most people are writing the flashback of either her divorce itself or when she was happy in the marriage before the divorce, and both of those are good. The only thing you have to make sure of, if you use that flashback, I want you to double check that in there you have written a sentence that says you're now back in the present tense. So some of the ones that I've seen, there was a knock on the door that woke me from my bad memory. Or another one I saw was thinking about the past made me so sad. And it was showing that you're flipping from the flashback to the present. You have to have that sentence or your essay is going to be wrong. Okay. So conclusion is where we are right now. So how do you write the conclusion? The length of the conclusion will vary. For most of you, it will be just a couple of sentences. Okay. And what you're going to do is you have a couple of options. You can ask a question that involves the reader. Okay, great. What does that mean? It's very similar to the introduction, where the prompt was, what is a football player? This one would be, what makes me happy? Or something that you want the reader to think about, but it's based on your story. You can do this, which is why it's up there. It is not one I recommend, just because it's typically used with argumentation, an argumentative essay. But I didn't want to say you couldn't do it, because you can. It's just, I would not recommend it unless you are just passionate about ending it with a question. Okay. The next one is a statement that echoes an idea from your piece. What that means is that something that you have written about that was really strong and powerful, you bring back up again and word it in a different way. The next one, you can do a personal comment. And by that, I'm not sure that one works with our prompt, but it will probably work with the one that you're taking on Thursday, the school-wide writing assessment. And this is where you shift from the mom's voice to you, the writer, okay, the student. And I just don't think that's going to work with this one, so I would not try it. A final conclusion you want the reader to remember, that's probably going to be your best bet, okay? Because if you do that one, what you can do is you can project time forward. And you can tell the reader the same thing that Amy Tan did, and you can do the same thing this author did, which is looking back, I blank. And you can tell the reader what your character learned. And when you do that, it's a 2-sentence conclusion. And you're basically rephrasing your thesis, which is the exact same thing you have to have in your conclusion. It's the easiest way to do that. Okay. Just remember, if you do that, do not tell me, the reader, how to feel. So don't say, looking back, I realized the struggle made me a better person. You need to feel this way too, Miss Smith. Okay. You can't, as the student, tell me how to think and feel. It needs to be simply the mother making a comment about it. But you do not have to end that way. It's just an easy way to do it. And it's strong because of it restates your thesis. And there's the other one that I have skipped. All right, so what you're going to do today is you're going to complete the conclusion. You have in your possession a half sheet of paper. You used it as a checklist for your exposition. Okay. Now you're going to pull it back out. And you'll notice on there it's got a checklist for the remaining parts of your essay. You're going to go through it and you are going to make sure that you have everything required. When you're done, you're going to type it into Schoology. This is the part I'm going to grade. Okay. Now I'm going to look at your brainstorm and those things, but the grade for your essay actually comes from what you type in Schoology, so you have to get that part done today. In the PowerPoint that you see online, the transition words are still up there for you, and then at the end we'll work on roar. Any questions?